We're chatting with author, philanthropist, everything.
Comedian.
I mean, comedian.
Syndicated radio show.
Listen, and more importantly, though, father.
Father, absolutely.
Yes, Rickey Smiley. Thank you so much for coming in studio.
Thank you for
with
having
today.
me.
I'm so excited to just talk to you because I promise you, I was telling everybody I went from the Holy Ghost to hilarious, like literally laughing like out loud. Lil Durrell is one of my favorite characters.
Absolutely.
Ever. And so I just love your story, Rickey. But I want to talk more about like how you grew up and more about Rickey Smiley.
Okay.
You know, because I know that your dad passed away when you were 7.
Uh-huh.
And so you kind of had a big family, you know, raising you. You had more than a traditional household. So tell me what it was like growing up, you know, without your dad, but having a heavy influence from your grandparents.
Well, it was tough, but I didn't miss a beat because, my grandfather and my dad had 3 brothers and my mother had 4 brothers. So I have all uncles. And so, just that manhood part and 2 wonderful grandfathers. So I didn't miss anything. My grandfather was awesome. And, made sure that I had everything, made sure that I, everything that a young man needs, who don't have a father. But they really stepped up to the plate, and I didn't miss anything.
And I know that these were some strong men, military men, you say.
Absolutely.
And so what was that structure like growing up in a kind of a military structured household?
Well, it was balanced because, you had discipline and structure, but you also had the love of a grandmother, the love and affection of a mother and a grandmother and great-grandmothers. I've touched all of my great-grandparents. I remember all of my great-grandparents. My grandmother's parents, my granddad parents, my other grandmother parents, my other grandfather parents. I touched every last great grandparent. So I've been around a lot of old people, a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge. I have all the recipes. I'm the one that do all the cooking. Everybody comes to my house for Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yes. And I know you brought a lot of that into the way that you raised your children.
Right.
You say you're old. You implement some new school stuff, but you do things the old school way too.
Oh yeah, I do I can do the nay, I can Dougie, but I have those rules and regulations. I don't play about curfew, and I just drop a lot of wisdom and a lot of knowledge. It's funny because when my daughter comes home from college and her friends, they like to sit around the kitchen counter because her friends, my son's friends, they just want to talk. They want me to just drop knowledge, and have a conversation with them. And they be like, oh, that's deep. I like that. You give the best analogies, so I just pass on a lot of wisdom and knowledge,
Now, do you think that that's because they come to the house for this wisdom and this knowledge? Do you think that's because it's something that's missing in today's parenting?
It may be, because, you rarely, come across people that's even if they have the wisdom and the knowledge, but are they willing to sit down and share it? You know what I mean? So, when they come across somebody that's kind of, nice and make them feel comfortable and talk about, a lot of things that they need to carry on, to go to the next level, they get excited about it. So, I always get the kids that want to come over. Even when my daughter's off in college, she might have a couple of her friends say, hey, Uncle Rickey, can we come over? Because they know they're going to get some macaroni and cheese. They're going to get some collard greens. What? And a good hot meal, some baked chicken, and some conversation. And those kids are happy. And then we go out to the deep freezer, and I load them up with some meat and some some Hot Pockets and some Totino's party pieces.
Because they need it with
chicken and turkey pot pies and the ramen noodles. What? And load them up, and then they go on about their business.
Yes. So Rickey, I like the way you open your book because you kind of talk about how if children thought more about the impact of their actions on their parents, that they probably would make better decisions.
Right.
And you talked about even with your dad, and he passed when you were 7, and he was a very young man when he passed away, and you kind of gave a description of how he lived his life. And so what do you think was the greatest takeaway that you wanted readers to come away with from that particular part of the book?
Well, as far as that, growing up, for any teen that's reading the book, decision making. Some decisions that you make at the age of 14, 15, 16, 17, the mistakes that you make at those ages, sometimes it take you all the way up until you in your 40s and 50s to get out of those bad decisions. A lot of people in prison that went to prison at 18 and they're down in their 40s getting ready to get out because of one bad decision. And for older people, that have children, it's a good parenting guide. You know, I have some testimony. People that think that they're not gonna make it, people that's struggling, people that's going through stuff, you know, because I have stories in here like, you know, I was almost murdered, you know, end up on the same elevator with going up to court for the attempted murder case and ended up on the elevator with the guy that shot me. It was just awkward. It was crazy. It was spooky. I also talk about the night that I had to perform at my grandmother's funeral. I'm getting ready. I'm in New York getting ready to walk on stage for 106 in Park. AJ and Free introducing me. And I get a phone call that my best friend, my grandmother, died. And I had to go on stage with a smile on my face and promote the 2004 season of BET's Comic View. So it was deep. So that kind of stuff right there, you know, will help you during times of adversity that you have to keep pressing forward. Because I was going to pass out and start crying, kicking and screaming on the floor. I had to go on TV. That's what my grandmother would have wanted. That's what she trained me and raised me to do. She didn't allow me to go to my big mama funeral. When her mother died, she was like, no, you can't come to the funeral because you have an opportunity to open up for Bernie Mac and D.L. Hughley. You go do that show. If I find you in that church, it's going to be a problem. She said, you go to the funeral home that Friday, but that Saturday morning you get up, you go and you go do your show and you concentrate on your career.
Now, Rickey, so what I'm hearing is that internal voice, because you've been through a lot, you know, and a lot of stuff that people don't even know in your story. Is it that internal voice that keeps you going in those adverse times instead of fleeing?
Yeah, you know, you can always hear your grandfather's voice. You know, don't do that, you know. And growing up in the projects or whatever, I ain't never smoked a drink in 49 years, ever. Because I had to get to a point where I make a decision. My grandfather said, don't do it. But he'll say, go make me a drink and go light that cigarette for me.
Go give me a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, go light it. So I had to go to the stove, and I had to learn how to take a puff just to get it lit and run it out there on the front porch. But I ain't never smoked one. But I smoked, but not smoked. I never bought none, but I done smoked enough to light it for him where he could smoke. And I make a good drink. I ain't never tasted it, but I know what to put in there. So he taught me how to make his Tennessee. What is that? The honey Tennessee.
Honey Tennessee. That's
You know. Right. Okay. He taught me how to make all his little brown drinks or whatever. I know how to make them up just right. Sometimes he's like, oh, you put a little too much ice in there. So I know how to get those drinks just right. So I keep my Hennessy and my Crown Royal and my Crown Royal Black. So when my granddaddy come over, you know, say, okay, he said, yeah, go and make me a drink. I said, yes, sir.
No, I love it, Rickey. I love how you keep the comedy going in just in life. And a big piece of just your message and your platform is that you are that inspiration for when people are in those dark spaces.
Yeah.
Why do you feel so committed to being that to others?
You have to. People going through stuff, man. God is so good to me. So blessed, you know, don't have any health problems. Woke me up this morning, giving me an awesome opportunity. Just think about. And I was riding around in New York, and I'm just looking out the window. I'm looking at homeless people pushing bags. I'm looking at a lady collecting bottles, and I'm fumbling in my pocket trying to find $5 or $10 or whatever before I can get it to her. The light turn green and people blowing and stuff. And I'm like, man, you know, so. You know, you have to be a voice and you have to be an encouraging word for somebody that's sitting there listening to the radio going through, you know, stuff. People, I have people that got cancer. I know people that listen to my morning show that's on hospice that have been given 6 months to live. So, you know, that gives me strength because just imagine facing death every day. You understand? So we get caught up in our little problems or whatever. If everybody that's listening to this show right now think you have a problem, go walk through a nursing home. And watch people laying there with no family, being fed through their stomachs, you know, stuff like that. And that just keep you humble and it keep you pressing and you just have to press on. So I just, you know, my voice to be used as a word of inspiration to help other people because, you know, it's not about you. You know, it's about service. It's about, that's what the Rickey Smiley Foundation does. It's about service. It's about uplifting others. It's about helping others. That's what my fraternity teaches, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Friendship is essential to the soul. You know, so that's what it's all about, you know, because I could have been, you know, Kevin Hart and other, but I chose to kind of bring it down a little bit where I can just kind of I have to have a balance. Because that's not me, you know. So I could have went to L.A. and did a lot of television and film, but I said, no, I just I can go out and perform. I can make money and be a celebrity, but I need to be able to reach people and help people. So God put me on the radio, and it's been working for 12 years now.
And also, like you said, with your platform as a comedian, for all these years that you've been doing this, you've always been a clean comedian.
Yeah. I curse every now and then. As you get older, your nerves get bad. You start cursing a little more. You started out clean. Oh, he's a clean Christian comedian. He go on stage. You're like, did he just say? But it don't be dirty jokes. But like if I curse, it's like an onion, but it's like sauteed in some gravy with some cube steak on top. It's like you don't taste it because you're so busy laughing, you don't really realize that I just actually curse. Right. You know what I mean? So it ain't what you do, it's how you do it. So I know how to curse without, you're like, ugh. Because you're so busy laughing, and I just know how to make things sound funny. Sometimes you need that word, that little cuss word, like some diced onions, and sprinkle it on there.
A little garlic powder.
Little garlic powder, some Lawry's, some Miss Dash, some nutmeg, some paprika.
Some paprika. Listen. So speaking of what you do, though, Rickey, so when did you first realize that you were actually funny?
Choir rehearsal. I used to play the organ at this church, right? And I was supposed to be doing choir rehearsal, teaching them some new songs. Why we sung the same 2 or 3 songs every Sunday? Because I couldn't do choir rehearsal because I was always imitating, and I would have the choir. They would come to choir rehearsal, would come up to the choir stand. We supposed to work on the song. I would put on a show and sit over there on that organ, have people down there say, well, no, don't worry about it. Okay, we're just going to go home, and we're just going to sing what we sung last Sunday. We're going to sing Order My Steps and Call on the Lord. So we'll learn the new song. And I got fired from the church because one of the deacons was about 80 years old, and he had custody of his 17-year-old granddaughter who was in beauty school, learning how to do hair. And he was real light-skinned, man. He had a gray, little small afro and a gray mustache. So one Sunday, he came to church. She dyed his hair jet black.
I can't.
I'm looking down there like he's real light skinned. She didn't go gray and black. She went from gray to jet black.
She took him straight Native American.
And I'm sitting over here and I'm looking around the church on the organ like, do anybody see this right here? When I tell you I was laid out, the pastor couldn't preach. The pastor gave me my money. He said, Rick, just go ahead and go because we ain't going to be. The pastor was trying not to laugh. And I think they decided to get somebody else after that because I said, I'm not going to be able to play until his hair get back the right color. So I found another church. And we laugh about that to this day. Deacon Johnson dead and gone. God rest his soul. I hope when he made it to heaven that he got back to his original color.
He went back gray. I can't. I knew this I'm telling you, I knew this was going to happen. Boy. I said I wasn't ready for it, Rickey.
Boy, I laid down up under that organ. Lord, and then when I left the church, I couldn't drive because my eyes was filled with tears. You ever laugh so hard that your hands get numb, you can't crank up the car, your steering wheel. And it was hot. It was 90 degrees. I couldn't get the windows to go down. I couldn't crank up the car. I'm in the car, nose running, crying, and sweating. I'm sorry.
I can't. I had to go live on this because I was like, the people are not ready, Rickey.
No.
Oh my God.
I've been through too much.
But this is the thing, and this is what I think people are forgetting about. Even in your book, you talk about the times that we're in and why it's important to stand for something.
Right.
But I think people forget like the comedy of life.
Right.
Like, it's like you get so caught up in the goal and the hustle and the bustle and the worries. Like, what advice would you give people that just are so caught up in what they see for right now and not what could possibly be?
The thing about it is you have to have that foundation. If you don't have that Christian foundation, you don't have anything. Because when all these problems come, when all these adversities come, you don't have nothing to go to because you don't know what you're dealing with. But when you get that foundation and you go to church and you go to Bible study, I'm not saying be a holier than thou Christian. I'm just saying go get some good word and go get some knowledge because you, myself, everybody need to be under the direction of some type of teaching, no matter how old you are. You're never too old to learn. You don't know everything. I don't care if you make $200,000 and $300,000 a year. You don't know everything. You need to study under somebody because to continue to grow. You understand what I'm saying? So the reason I know what I know because I'm still growing because I'm being taught and trained every day, every week.
Yes, and these are like the lessons that you even outline in your book with your story. Like your story just gives you these life lessons of the importance of paying it forward.
Right.
You know, the importance of having people and acknowledging the accolades of and successes of other people. And you talk about even your start in comedy, you know, and how people opened up the door for you.
Right.
How influential were some of your mentors in your success?
Yeah, Steve Harvey, you know, gave me one of us. I was doing a show with Steve Harvey. This is one of my favorite stories. I was opening for Steve Harvey. I think I met Steve when I was 8. I was 18. Steve was 29. Steve Harvey was 29 years old when we met. I was 18. And it was crazy because I was opening up for him. And I showed up with my little Nike jogging suit on, my Nike hat. I thought I was doing something. And he said, listen, he said, tomorrow when you come back to this comedy club, he said, you need to dress nice. And I'm looking down like, it's a brand new Nike jogging suit. He not like, no, people pay money to come see you perform and they're dressed better than you. I get that. He said, but if you're going to do a show with Steve Harvey, you know how he talk. He said, so when I went on stage and I introduced Steve, I ran out of that comedy club and drove all the way, flew down the highway and got off and went to my apartment and changed suits right then. I'm not going to wait until tomorrow. When you got somebody that has what you want, give you some advice, why wait till tomorrow? Right now. And I flew. By the time I made it back to that comedy club, he said, thank y'all. God bless y'all. My name is Steve Harvey. Good night. When I walked back on stage just to say good night, I had that suit on. And he looked at me that day. He said, okay, I'm going to help you because you serious.
Yeah. And you know what? And that's the thing. Like, you say this is a parenting guide, right? I think this is a life guide.
It is. I'm gonna change my language. You're absolutely right. It is a life guide.
I mean, because I was reading some of the stuff in the book, and it just really said reshape your perspective.
Absolutely.
You know, think about your actions. These are takeaways from the book. So, what did you learn the most about yourself when you wrote this book?
That I was crazy and needed counseling. Cause when we were writing the book, man, I had a lot of moments where I was crying. I had a lot of moments I was laughing hysterically. It was really like I tapped into some areas that I never really just discussed. You know what I'm saying? Like I learned a lot about myself. I learned that I really miss my grandmother. You know, just imagine you every Sunday after church is pot roast, macaroni and cheese, and collard greens, and now after Sunday, some Sunday it's just a slice of pizza, and on the coffee table and a Sprite, and you sitting there watching NFL football. So I didn't even realize how rich I was when my grandparents was living. That's rich, not money. You understand? I make money now, but money don't bring happiness. I was happy when I made $75 at that church and I went to my grandmother's house to sit down at the table and eat a Sunday dinner with little church music playing in the background. I didn't even realize at that time what I was even in the midst of.
Yes, and that's when
see how deep that is.
That's heavy because it's about, like, you know, again, back to the book, Stand by Your Truth. You know, you talk about essentially valuing these relationships that we get in life and that we just really kind of take for granted.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think, like, if you could go back to the, 18-year-old Rickey and speak to him and, you have your grandmother there and she's watching you grow and develop, what would you say to that 18-year-old Rickey?
What I would say to him is take what I do a lot more serious. Because I was real silly, immature, made a lot of mistakes, but I didn't get into a lot of trouble now. So I did it halfway right, but if I was going to speak to somebody, I would go back and speak to the one that was in college, because I did not take advantage of what was offered to me in college, because I went to college in the clown, showing out at the pet rallies, trying to pledge, trying to talk to chicks. Chicks wasn't talking to me because I wasn't on the baseball team or basketball team. So I went and got a baseball jersey and pretended I was an athlete just to get a chick to talk to me. Man, I used to get shot down. I used to get curved so much. But I was real skinny. I couldn't gain no weight. I was going to McDonald's, drinking up chocolate milkshakes at night, going to sleep. I could not gain no weight. I was so skinny. I had to run around in the shower to get wet. You understand how bad that is?
Rickey, you was drinking Ensure trying to gain some weight.
Man, my metabolism was like, wow. So.
But also too, I mean, and you know, I know we could probably talk forever, but I do want to touch on a couple of really key things that you addressed as a man. You know, you talk about when you actually had your first son and falling into a depression because of, and I won't give away. You got to get the book, y'all, if you want to know the story. Right? If you want to know the story, but you know, you say you fell into a depression, Rickey. How did you come out of that?
God, that foundation that I always talk about, because I walked up the Bible study every Wednesday, and I went to church every Sunday. I had a mentor. This guy played the organ named Jerome Marie. You know, him and his wife. You know, I would go with them on Sunday evenings just to watch him play, because I was an organist. I wanted to be like him. And he prayed for me one night in his car. I was feeling down. I was depressed. I was at my lowest. And he said, God just spoke to me and told me, you're going to do some great things. I wasn't even really trying to do comedy then, you know. I said, what, to be a musician like you? He's like, nah, it's way bigger than what. And that man spoke that over my life in that car and prayed for me that night. And here we are today. And we friends now to this day, you know. And every time he come around, he always mentoring to people, you know, whatever, because he's a good dude. But you know, I promised God, I said, if I get out of this situation right here, you don't have to worry about me, you know, again. You know, I'll do everything right. I will help people. I will serve, you know, and I kept my word. Because sitting on that front porch in the projects, confused, depressed, no car, no money.
No mental health counseling.
Nothing. Nothing. And from God to bring me from that to this, for the rest of my life. He's been so good to me. If he don't do nothing else for me, he's done enough.
Yes.
If he don't do nothing else. So I'm just thankful, and I thank God for keeping me. Because this business kill people. It's a lot of celebrities dead.
Yes.
It's a lot of celebrities in the cemetery in this business have got them going down a track, and they have self-destructed. So I just thank God for keeping me. Sense enough to have balance, to go and perform in front of 5,000 people, but then put on an apron and go to the Salvation Army the very next day and feed the homeless. See, that's real talk. I'm not just saying that. That's what I do on my birthday. I suit up and I serve at the Salvation Army every birthday. You know, instead of pinning money on myself and want everybody to celebrate me, I'm gonna go serve you on my birthday. You know, are you willing to give on your big day? God let you, the day you celebrating being born. What difference are you gonna make? Or you want everybody to praise you on your day? Pretty deep in it.
Yes. So, Rickey, one other thing you did talk about in your book, and I wanted to talk about this just because, especially in the Black community, the issue of deadbeat dads, and there's no good Black men, and people don't want their children. One thing you talk about in your book is that, listen, I fought for my children.
I did. There are great fathers out here, and the laws are changing. The laws are becoming fair to men and to fathers. A judge in Alabama said that the reason he don't ever award custody of children to a dad because he never seen a cow follow his pappy. A cow follow a bull. You understand that kind of thought process and that kind of mentality or whatever. But there are some great fathers out here that braid hair. I used to braid the hell out of them. I'm talking about them parts straight. Man, I used to get that damn pink oil moisturizer. And get that brush and pull that thing back into a ponytail.
Put a little water on it.
Put a little water on it. Put that little rubber band on it and flip that thing over into a bun. Have that little thing like a shiny bagel and spray some. Boy, what? Send my daughter out. It was the same hairstyle. I couldn't do nothing. I could do that part down the middle and do the 2 afro puffs. I had 2 hairstyles. I said, which one you want? She said, I can do the bun. I said, let's go. I brushed that hair. Because, you know, she liked the bun because you don't have to comb it. You can just brush the outside. The inside be nappy. But you get it right on.
Matted on it.
Yeah, matted on the inside. But you get that baby and you get to pull in that doggone ponytail and flip that thing on there and flip that thing over into that bun. I had that bun right.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Sometimes I said, you want me to sit it on the top, or you want it on the back, or you want to cock to the side?
Rickey, so stand by your truth. Look, I can't. This right here, stand by your truth. Hold it up, let them see
Y'all
it.
better get my book.
They better get it, stand by your truth,
deal.
and then run for your life.
Yes.
So just a couple more things. Why the title, Rickey, and what are we going to get from the book?
What you going to get from the book is, what you won't get from the book is that I love little people. I want to shout out to Juicy and all the little women of Atlanta. Little people make me happy, and that's my obsession. I got a little person, and I'm about to produce a gospel album, and it's called "Pick Me Up So I Can See Jesus."
I can't.
I'm just kidding, y'all. If you want some inspiration, you make sure you get my book. You can go to Amazon.com. You can go to BarnesandNoble.com. and get my book, all right? And make sure you check it out. Y'all so crazy. Why you got me on here showing out?
Because this is what you were meant to do.
That's right.
I love it, Rickey. I am so your story is just so inspirational. People, I need you to go out and get the book. I need you to learn more, watch some videos, because your work is not just work, it's a ministry.
It is.
And I mean, at the end of the day, Rickey, if you could give one little last thought, one thing that you want, and I don't even feel like it's in the space of parenthood. I think it's more in the space of going through adversity and coming out of it.
Right.
You know, what is it that you would want to say to the listeners to help them get to that space of significance in their life, not just success?
Seek knowledge. Seek and ye shall find. Seek knowledge. You don't know everything, and get knowledge from somebody that's going somewhere. Because you're not going to let a homeless person tell you how to buy a house. You understand? Hang with some people. Let me tell you something. If you take a shower, you took a shower this morning, right? Mm-hmm. If you take a shower right now and you go sit in a trash can, but you don't touch anything, how do you think you're going to smell at the end of the day?
Funky.
Right, funky. But if you get out of that trash can and you work behind a perfume counter at Neiman Marcus all day, you understand what I'm saying? I can't even explain this, but you have to surround yourself with good people and people that's winning and people that's going places. And understand, just because y'all went to elementary school together and high school together, you know, aunties, cousins, everybody used to spend the night at grandmama's house, it's not meant for you to be with them for the rest of your life. Now, you can love people from a distance, but if they're not going in the direction that you're going, that's why those boosters that lift that space shuttle up, you know, eventually, before that space shuttle goes into orbit, they break off where that space shuttle could soar. See, an eagle is a bird, and so is a chicken. But you never see the eagles down here eating with the chickens. Chickens hang in flocks. The eagle is on the water. You can't go to churches and buy eagle meat because they fly so damn high you can't catch them. That's a good word, isn't it?
That's a good word.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.